We'll give it a second for arrivals. I did try to do one just a minute ago and my iPad froze on me. I don't quite know why, but it did. So I'm going to give it a minute, a few people to turn up, you know, like you do. And also to say that yesterday I did snap at people. I will apologise a little bit for that, because actually I don't like snapping at people who, especially those who do show such immense support to what I do. But I also find it equally frustrating when people don't understand that often they do sometimes miss the point I'm trying to make, and it's very, very frustrating. And I'm human, you know, I'm human. So look, I get tired and I get worn down and I get sick of repeating myself sometimes. So, good morning, Tina. I do get frustrated, although I must say here, I think it's afternoon now. In fact, it is now 3:10 in the afternoon. So, I do get a bit frustrated, so I will apologise to people for sort of snapping. Wasn't my intention to snap at people, but I get frustrated. I get frustrated when I'm trying to make a really valid point and people want to keep bringing it back to the same point all the time, which is their point. And I get that people are angry and people are upset and frustrated, and I do understand that, but better than people can imagine, I get frustrated every day. It's not a single day doesn't go by where I'm not frustrated and angered. And even today, you know, look at me. I'm sitting here, I'm wearing the same fucking shirt as I wore yesterday, because although I will say it's clean, it is a clean shirt. I did only wear it yesterday for a few hours, and then I put my pyjamas on and I got comfortable and I switched off my computer, and I just took a night away from it all, because I don't want to snap at people. I don't. But the title of this video has been titled this video for a reason. And I can't even remember where I saw the link now. And that's the God's honest truth. But I was sent a link. And I now wish to give lessons to the asylum seekers. Lessons on how not to rape. How not to rape. Lessons. You see, I am a little bit of now. You can all tell me whether you agree or disagree, because I am a bit of a thing here. There's a couple of things that go through my mind. So the first thing is this. I'm saying first thing and she's holding up two. That shows you how tired I am. So the first thing is this. If you've got to have lessons on how not to rape, then it stands to reason you must have had, hi Brian Snooks, you must have had lessons on how to rape. I think that makes sense, doesn't it? If I'm going to have lessons on how not to do something, it's because somebody taught me how to do it. So if we need lessons on how not to rape, surely somebody taught these people how to rape. That makes sense, doesn't it? So we're now going to educate people on how not to rape. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's going to work. Because this is another little scenario I've got. And again, tell me if you don't agree with me. Okay, because I'm open to people telling me I'm wrong. You know, I'm not always right. I'm human. I make mistakes. I make errors. So you think about this logically, okay? Say you're a person who's into watching porn. And there isn't, to be honest with you, I mean, America, I love you all dearly, but, you know, they do this sort of, you know, we're God-fearing people, but actually it's the capital for making porn films. But that aside, I'm not offended by the fact that people watch porn. It doesn't bother me at all. But if you get somebody who's into a little bit of, we'll call it, for want of a better description, if you get somebody who's into a little bit of kinky fuckery, okay, but they have that one video, just that one, and they watch it over and over and over and over. Now, sooner or later, that's not going to hit the spot, is it? So you're going to move on to something slightly harder. So when you move on to that something harder and you just watch that, just that, repeatedly, over and over and over and over again, it's going to stop hitting the mark. So you're going to move on to something a little harder, and a little harder, and a little harder, till eventually you're into some really fucked up shit. That's why most people who do watch porn, they mix and match it up a bit. Right? They don't stick to one thing. They mix it up and match it up a bit. So you kind of have to sit there and go, So these people who, once they get to that point, they're at that point where they're always looking for something harder. If you've been taught to rape, you are at a point of no return. You cannot educate somebody how not to rape once somebody's already taught them how to rape, because that's how they're going to get their jollies off. Okay? So you're not going to stop that. It's much like a serial killer. Once they've made that first kill, it's not enough. They need the second kill, the third kill, the fourth kill, the fifth kill. It is really that simple. It really is that simple. So we're going to take all these refugees. Sorry, my phone's going off. Bear with me 1 minute. Because there's nothing worse than being interrupted by the phone continuously going off. So just give me 2 seconds. So we're going to teach people how not to rape. Okay. We're not talking about some young lad who's gone out and got himself into a punch-up and got into a bit of a scrap. We're talking about somebody, whether they've raped a male or a female, is irrelevant. They've raped. You cannot unteach that. And anybody who says to me, no, that's not true, we must educate these people. No. I don't think we do need to educate these people. I don't think we do. Bear with me, I just need to reply to this text message. 2 seconds. This is what my life is now, made up of text messages and emails and talking of which, I've just had a Muslim guy on my Twitter, and I was very polite to him. But he just basically said, check your emails. And it had come up in my emails that somebody on about 10 times had attempted to hack my Twitter and change my password. Really? What do you think you're going to find in my emails? What do you think you're going to find? Because I can tell you now, you're going to find sweet Fanny Adams. You are going to find sweet sod all that is of any use to you whatsoever. Or do you think I sit with a little email and I type out all my hatred in an email and send it all out to somebody? What complete and utter pish. So hack away, you pillock. Hack away. You failed the 10 times you just tried. You'll continue to fail. Why? Because you're a failure. And all this because he's got all over his timeline. Support Palestine, support Palestine, support Palestine. Fine, you want to support Palestine, I'm not going to tell you you shouldn't. Then he's gone, it's all down to the Jews. The Jews this, the Jews that, the Jews this, the Jews that. I said, so basically then, you're a racist. Because you just hate Jews. Oh no, that's right, because you hate the kuffar too, don't you? To which he said, it was something like, you've been warned. Okay, you're not the first to threaten me. You're not going to be the last to threaten me. You're one of hundreds that threaten me. In fact, your threat was weak, piss weak. I've had detailed, graphic, detailed messages about how they want to subjugate me, how they want to torture me, what they want to do to me, and how they want to do it. So if you think your threat of hacking my computer is going to make me run away and scurry in the corner and cry like a baby, you seriously don't know me. Because I really am not that easily intimidated. Angered, yes. And as I said to him, are you one of these that believe we should educate people on how not to rape? He went, what are you on about? So you're saying all Muslims are rapists? I said, I never said all Muslims were rapists. It's not me that's drawn up a plan on teaching people how not to rape that have come from Islamic countries. That's a government-funded scheme. It's a charity-run scheme. It's not my fucking scheme. I'm not the one turning around and saying we need to educate people on how not to rape. I expect men and women to know how not to rape. You don't call me stupid. I kind of expect you to know how to not rape. But somebody taught you how to do it if you need to be taught how not to. Somebody taught you. And it sure as hell wasn't me. I never taught you how to rape. Any more than I taught those how to rape me. Fucking lessons on how to not rape. Seriously. You know what? Do you know what will happen next? Because I genuinely believe we're seeing kathirophobia. Oh, wow, I love that word. And Graham Moore used it on Russia Today. Well done, Graham. People now need to start using it more. I think we're seeing infidelophobia. Oh, yeah, that motherfucker's real. Right? And I think we are also seeing Caucasophobia. And I just watched a guy, a black guy, talking about the Black Lives Matter movement. And he nailed it. Oh, did he nail it? What a star. An absolute star. And there was a short video of how two blacks had stormed the stage where Milo Yiannopoulos was speaking, grabbing the microphone and you know, in their face, and now what, and now what? Well, hello. If you're going to act aggressive, don't say that we don't get employed. Well, maybe they're not employing you because you're acting like a moron. Maybe they won't employ you because you show aggression. Maybe it has nothing to do with the colour of your skin. So I think now I'm a victim of Caucasophobia. I'm hated because I happen to be blonde hair, blue-eyed. Well, I do apologise for that. I'll blame my father. He had the blue eyes, mum's got brown. So I can't blame you for this one, Mum. You are guilt-free today. But you know, you don't get away with the blonde hair. Oh, no, that's right. You didn't have blonde hair either, did you, Mum? You're brunette. That came from my dad's side too, I think. I've got two brown-eyed brothers with brown hair. I've got a sister with mousy brown hair. And blue eyes. It's not a bloody choice. I didn't choose it. Oi, oi, Susan Dawson, I need my cleaner. You are a part-timer, you love. Put your finger out. Fucking part-time walla. So I quite frankly, I am getting just a tad tired of this bullshit. I am really at the point now of... Another message, sorry. And I spoke to one of the guys who's the apostate that I speak to, who lives a double life. Shane, don't come at your spring cleaning. Who was on the phone to me last night saying, I need my woman, man, I need my woman, I can't cope, I nearly flooded the house out. You're such a girl pants. Seriously, he was on the phone going, I can't cope, it's just too much stress. There's only him to look after and he can't cope. It's too much stress. You big girl. Get a grip. Grow up, boy. Learn to cook. Something other than sausages as well. That'd be nice. Sorry, I promised I wouldn't mention any of that, didn't I? You should have the Mr. Sheen out as well. I mean, you shouldn't. You're not like me, darling. I have people like Suzanne who come over and say, right, that's it. We're setting two. And I'm like, we? She's like, no, me. So you got to love her for that. So all this, we're going to educate people on how not to rape. Okay. Can you teach them how not to hate while you're at it, please? Do you think you could teach them how not to hate somebody who's not of the same religious background as you? Could you teach them that, please? I'd be ever so appreciative. I'd really appreciate that. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could manage to actually teach them how not to hate? Could you teach them how... What's the other one? Westernophobia. That's another. They're absolutely right. We've got westernophobia. We've got infidelophobia. We've got kathirophobia. We've got Caucasophobia. There's a lot of phobias out there. Ooh. Hiya, Karen Wyatt Saporita. I think I correctly pronounced your name. I do try to get pronunciations correct, even though it sounds like I'm wearing my teeth in for red rum. So what I was saying, I was speaking to this apostate who's living a double life, which breaks my heart that somebody should have to live a double life in this country. You know, I never thought I'd see the day when somebody would have to live a double life. But we are seeing that day. And I said to him, you know, when you go to... Because he has to go to the mosque, he has to attend. He gets no say in it, because if he doesn't... So I said, what would actually happen if you turn around to your family and your community and said, you know what, I no longer wish to follow Islam? I said, you know, he said, well, obviously if I lived in an Islamic country, I'm going to be dead. I said, but what about in this country? He said, there would be a violent backlash. Welcome to Sharia UK. Are you all feeling multicultural? Are you feeling culturally enriched? I don't feel culturally enriched. I feel culturally robbed. In fact, let's add, I also feel culturally raped. Maybe somebody can give me a lesson on how not to feel culturally raped. I mean, what's better still is maybe if they stop funding and they actually stop half of the illegals coming into this country in the first place, we wouldn't have the rising tide of rapists that we are seeing. And that doesn't mean we haven't got rapists in our own race. We are well aware of this. We know this. And before any Muslim comes on and goes, Jimmy Savile, Stuart Hall, and all of the other nonsense, we know. The difference is we don't excuse them. We call them out. We expose them. And we want to know why it was left and ignored. Whereas I've had so many Muslims say to me, well, he's not a true Muslim. Well, yes, he fucking is. Yes, he is. Because after he raped that girl, he went to mosque and continued to pray. He could continue to practice Ramadan. He could continue to celebrate Eid. So he is a true Muslim. Like it or not, he is. But you're not calling this shit out. We call it out. You don't. Don't sit and tell me about how there is this rising tide of Islamophobia when all I see is a rising tide of kafirophobia. A rising tide of rape genocide. A cultural difference of female genital mutilation. People like Dilly Hussein, who I had in a debate on Russia Today. And when, can you hear that rattling? Sorry, that's my blind smacking against the wall. I had him in a debate. He shared a platform. Not only did he share it, he created the platform. And he referred to this man as brother and sheikh. Haitham al-Haddad. Go onto your Googles, type in Haitham al-Haddad. Haitham al-Haddad believes there is a correct way of performing female genital mutilation. Do you feel culturally enriched now? It's not just a fact. I mean, it's bad enough that these little girls are suffering. That they are pinned down by relatives while their genitalia is mutilated. That's not enough. No. We then have to look at the cost of the NHS because of the amount of little girls being brutally butchered, needing it to be put right and corrected. So how about you don't get lessons on how not to rape? We just shut the gates and let's sort the shit out we already have in this country. We have got, in the UK, Sikhs, Hindus, Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai people, blacks, whites, Jews, Christians. We have all these variety of people and Muslims. And those who came across all those many years ago to this country, they're oppressed by this shit too. Because when you allow hate preachers to come into this country from Pakistan, Iran and Saudi Arabia and stand in a mosque and preach their hatred and tell every Muslim, as that apostate just told me, you are shamed, you are guilted. because you're not a good Muslim. It doesn't matter how hard you try, you're still not doing it right. And you're going to burn in the hellfire. Fear breeds fear, and that's what they use to control most of the Muslims, because they are told you're not doing it right. You're going to burn in the hellfire. So those who came over to this country, who adapted to this country and accepted this country and embraced the culture of this country, are now being told, their children and their next generation are told, no, you must hate the kuffar. Hate the kuffar way of life. That's what he was told. Hate the kuffar way of life. Well, if you hate the kuffar way of life, you must therefore hate the kuffar, like it or not. Kuffaraphobia. There you go. We have kuffaraphobia. It's official. It's official. So, today's quick brief is, teach your ad not to rape. Now, how about you don't rape in the first place? And let's also not forget, some of these cases are not just rape. He's in it and just an opportunist that saw some bird, thought, yeah, I fancy it, whether she likes it or not, grabbed her, pinned her, and that's bad enough. And that is bad. But these people tortured these girls. Tortured them. And boys. Boys were tortured too. Raped and tortured. Who taught you to do that then? I didn't teach you. Wasn't a lesson I gave you. And I said to him, what I find amazing, they blame the West for everything. The West is to blame. And we need to understand this. The West is to blame for everything. Okay, so what you really mean is they'll say, well, Tony Blair. Fine! Target Tony Blair. Don't target a 60-year-old woman and stab her and kill her or rape her at her sister's graveside or some 13-year-old kid that you told you were in love with and you've made her feel special and you've groomed her and then raped her and tortured her. Punish Tony Blair. I don't give a flying shit about Tony Blair. He sold this country out just as David Cameron sold this country out. But you don't target them because you can't get near them. They drive around in their bulletproof cars and everything else. I don't have a bulletproof car. I don't have any of that shit. Teach them how not to rape. Seriously. How about somebody taught them to rape? How don't you find out who taught them to rape? That'd be an interesting statistic to look at, wouldn't it? I'd love to see those stats. How many children in your family were taught how to rape? Why don't you do a little, what do they call them? When they go out and like a questionnaire, measure the stats. So when you go out into all these countries, these Islamic countries that are coming into this country, and ask all their families, how many of your boys did you teach to rape? Because of course they're going to tell you the truth, aren't they? A poll. Thank you, Tanya. So we can have a poll in all the Islamic countries. See how many were taught to rape the kuffar. Let's see whether they'll tell them. Shall we? And please don't think that I'm one of these that's of the belief that there are no good Muslims. Like I said, anybody who heard me interview Rahil Raza and Shireen Kanosi, these are good people. They're good people. And they are standing up to the extremists we see. And they're calling time on that. And if we're going to sit there and I've seen many people, Black Lives Matter people, people who are against the Black Lives Matter movement who happen to be black, and they're calling that shit out too. So we can't sit there and go, yeah, but he's a good guy, he's calling out Black Lives Matter. But when a Muslim calls out Muslims that are doing what they're doing, we're going to go, Taqiyya, Taqiyya, Taqiyya. Not everything is Taqiyya. Some of these people do tell the truth. They do. And they're good people. And they're the people we support. They're the people I will always support. I will back them all the time they back me. Those who I scratch the surface of, and trust me, I scratch the surface of many, and I expose that double standard thing, then I'll expose their double standards. I don't give a shit. I own nothing. So, how not to rape? Here's a very simple solution. to how not to rape. It's really very simple. Because as somebody who's been raped, I think, as somebody who's been raped, gang raped I might add, I think I have the ability to speak with knowledge on this subject. Anybody who thinks I doesn't can kiss my lily white arse, because quite frankly, I don't give a shit. So what I will say is this: how not to rape. It's very simple. It's very simple. Don't fucking do it. Because you see this body, it's not yours. It's not yours or anybody else's to do as you wish to do with. It belongs to me. And when you rape, it is your shame and your guilt. You are and when I say this, I'm not talking to the people who are on here, so before you all go, don't say that to me, Tony. I am not talking to you directly. But my body belongs to me. It does not belong to some dirty, filthy, stinking, raping scum. And I don't care if you're black, white, blue, Muslim, non-Muslim, Jewish, Sikh, Hindu. I don't care who you are. But at the moment, there is a problem with mass rape gangs. And they are predominantly Muslim, and the girls are predominantly white girls. There's your Caucasophobia right there. Own that shit. Own that, you scum that go around and think that you can teach people how not to rape. Because if you've got to teach them how not to rape, the chances are they've already raped. But hey, we're all going to sit round, clap our hands and say, come by fucking R. They are rapists and you want to educate them how not to rape. Seriously. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Honestly, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I lose it like this. I am. Because you know what? I'm such a calm person. If people knew me, properly knew me, my heart is this big. You know, it's huge. I have a lot of love for a lot of people. But to justify and say they need to be taught how not to rape, that don't sit with me. It cuts no ice with me. It's bullshit. And I call bullshit. And I don't care whose bullshit it is. It's bullshit. And this is your liberal lefty lovies. Let's all free the world and let's all be all happy, multicoloured, multicultural. Bullshit. I wonder how many of them have known what it's like to have somebody on top of you forcing themselves onto you, causing you so much pain that you are willing yourself to die. Death is the easiest thing you could get. It would be the best thing at that moment in time that you could get. So the pain stops. To be dragged and clawed and punched and bitten and beaten and told you're worthless and nothing. I wonder how many of those liberal lefty lovies have gone through that to then come up with the idea we need to teach the refugees and asylum seekers how not to rape. They rape their own. And they love to rape anybody who they see as being a kuffar. Anybody who has gone through it, and trust me, I do speak from experience, you have no idea of the strength of character it takes to survive it. Surviving it is the hard part. It's hard enough when you're being raped, when you want your life to end, when you want it over, you want it to stop. You can't take any more. And you wish, you literally beg for death. You beg for it. To survive that, trust me now, that's the hardest fight that any human being, be you male or female, will ever have to endure. And it is not an overnight solution. I know. Because I fought that fight. And it's exhausting. And it's tiring. And there are times when the only solution for me seemed like death would be the best solution. Because I wanted to stop hurting. And I didn't know how. I wanted to trust, but I didn't know how. I wanted to care and feel, but I didn't know how. It's a battle unlike any battle anybody has ever fought in their life. And very few become survivors. Very few. Many continue to be abused. And it's hard. So when I can try and get somebody out of a situation where that's happening to them, and I have, believe you me, I don't sit on Facebook and say, I did this today, this today, this today, this today. I don't. That's not how I work. It's not about you all knowing how much I do and patting me on the back. I don't care about pats on the back. I don't. I don't care about notoriety and fame. I don't care. Matters not to me. But when a little boy or a little girl or a young woman or even a young man is raped and tortured, oh, trust me, I care. And I will show them all of the compassion in the world. When a Muslim woman is forced to marry her rapist, and yes, I've dealt with that too, then I care. But when some dirty bastard has raped somebody, do I care about him having lessons paid for out of taxpayers' pockets to teach you how not to rape? Shove your funding somewhere where it should be used, which perhaps would be Rotherham for a fucking start. 1,400 to 2,000 girls were raped and trafficked. Fund them. Help them. Not a bastard who went out and did it. Teaching him how to do... seriously. I'm just... Take care, Tony, darling. I just don't get it. I don't get how people can be so stupid. You know, the whole world is not rainbow coloured. Sometimes the sun shines and every colour of the rainbow can be seen. In other days, it's the darkest, greyest place you could ever be, and the worst place you could ever imagine wanting to be. Multiculturalism failed. It failed. Why don't the politicians suck it up and clean up the mess you made? Because you owe it to the people of this country. You owe it. So sort your shit out. For now, everybody, I had to get it off my chest. I'm sorry I lost my rag yesterday. Sorry I lost my rag a little bit today. But let's not give them lessons on how not to rape. Let's stop rapists coming in. Shall we? For now, take care. I love you all lots. Have a great afternoon.